You know, Paul Rudd, really successful actor.
Yes,
and,
he is.
I like him.
I was thinking today, like we've known him since Clueless, right?
Yep, all the way back. Yeah, sometimes you forget. Do people,
Hello.
hey, Paul, put on the microphone and headphones.
Yeah, let's have him be ready to talk.
Thinking about you. Do
Better,
people ask you more about being Ant-Man? Do people ask you more about Ant-Man, Clueless, or... Let me think. What am I thinking about now?
It's fine. It's Ant-Man. You don't even have to go down the other ones.
Yeah, but what about...
Clueless.
Anchorman sometimes. Some of the Apatow stuff.
Yeah, but Ant-Man... Now you walk down the street and people probably yell out, hey, Ant-Man.
Yeah, Ant-Man. I get Ant-Man, or the other one that people sometimes yell to me is Slap the Bass from
right.
I Love You, Man.
Yeah.
But mainly people just say Ant-Man.
Clueless was a great... How did you get that movie, Clueless? Like, how do you manage to... Because at that point, you weren't super well known.
I wasn't at all. I mean,
right. That was like the one that really kind of broke you out, right?
I just auditioned for it.
Were tons of dudes auditioning for that thing? I mean, it must have been because...
I guess. I mean, there was there were so many parts in it that were kind of for 20-year-olds and teenagers. And so I think a lot of people went in to audition for it. When I went in,
What had you done up to that point? Like, had you done...
Commercials.
Yeah.
And I had filmed a Halloween movie, but it hadn't come
Halloween
out.
6.
Halloween 6 was the first movie I ever did.
And as soon as Clueless hit, they released that fucker like right away, right? And you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Were you happy about that? Halloween 6?
No, I mean, it was ridiculous.
Is that a weird thing? Like you hit in Clueless, and now you're probably getting calls from, because it was so great. Alicia Silverstone, and all those people you broke big, and then you realize, hey, I did Halloween 6, and then the movie studio starts promoting the hell out of it. There's probably commercials everywhere, right? Is it a weird moment in your career?
Well, it was strange only because it was like, well, this is what they're looking at, like my big follow up, yes, and
it wasn't a follow up.
The producer, a guy named thank you.
What do you got there? Coffee?
Some coffee.
Look at you.
I know.
Yeah. I can't drink coffee.
Really?
Yeah, I don't want to get into it. I want to hear about you and Clueless getting that part because it's fascinating to me. And you're not in touch with Alicia Silverstone, right?
I saw her recently, actually.
Really?
Yeah. A few of the cast members I saw recently. It was kind of
Stacey Dash.
Are you fascinated by Stacey Dash?
Like, it's pretty interesting.
It is,
right? I never would have guessed that road.
Me neither. I mean, beautiful girl, talented, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
She had a great part in Clueless.
Yeah. I remember her from the movie Moving with Richard Pryor, too. She was, So I remember when Clueless happened, I was like, oh my God, the girl from Moving is in this movie.
Yeah. Isn't it weird, like when, you do a movie with someone, you get to know them, and I guess then you move on, but you kind of feel connected to them in a way. And then you can never predict what's going to happen with people. And that's the worst part, I think, about being an actor. You could be a totally competent actor, great looking, you got the whole package, and you can end up in a kind of a weird, going on Fox News and doing weird shit, or you can end up being a superstar. It's just so random depending on what material you get.
Yeah, a lot of things are out of your control. So, but that was a left turn that... Boy, that was a big left turn.
Big left turn.
A big left turn.
Did you, I mean, I'm sure you take no joy in that left turn, but it's like, I guess it's like, wow, I just didn't know that much about her.
Well, it's just interesting to see. It's interesting to see where people go and what they do, and
well, I find myself connected to like Paul Giamatti. I'm so proud of him because he did my movie.
Yeah.
And he was really unknown. I remember we auditioned him 3 times because everyone was convinced he should be the guy, but we weren't sure. And then to see him explode like that, and I always take some sort of weird pride in that. Not that I should.
Understandable. That was the first time anybody saw him, and he was so great in that movie.
He did such a good job.
He also, I really do think that he is really one of our great actors.
Yes.
But the one thing that people probably don't know about Giamatti is that he is the funniest guy. I mean, he can be really silly, and obviously a very bright guy.
He's very bright.
Really bright.
Right.
And yet, there are people that can just buckle me. I laugh so hard. And Giamatti is a guy that really, really cracks me
What
up.
did you work with him on?
I worked with him the first time. I've worked with him a couple of times. The first time was on this movie called I don't even know if I remember the title.
Right.
I think it's called All Is Bright.
Right.
That's
really? Have you done
by the
so
way,
many movies at this point that you
I don't even know.
Isn't that great that you don't remember the name of a movie
I
you were
actually
in?
had a thing where I think one time flipping around and all of a sudden I was on TV and I said, what the hell is this?
I'm in this?
I'm in this?
But isn't that great that did you ever imagine when you were a little boy and you're growing up and you had the dream of being an actor? Did you ever think that one day you'd be sitting in bed going, I don't even remember doing this project?
No.
That's amazing.
It's pretty...
Because, I was watching, this was random. I was up at 2 o'clock in the morning last night. I'm watching Inside the Actors Studio with Jim Carrey, which it was brilliant. Jim Carrey's so fucking brilliant.
Brilliant.
And so gifted in every single facet of show business. And I'm watching it, and I'm watching all of these students. It's the studio, the Actors Studio.
Right.
Thousands of these young people sitting there wanting to be actors. And if you ever said to one of them, you'll be so successful that one day you'll be laying in bed and you won't even remember the movie you were in, they would pinch themselves,
Yeah.
They would just that's not possible.
And then unless it was the flip side and the experience in the movie is so horrible that some mechanism in my brain switched over so that it forced me to forget it.
Can it go horrible like that? Obviously it can.
You go into all of them hoping for the best.
But when you get cast in a movie with Giamatti, you're probably sitting there saying to yourself, this can't go wrong. I mean, this guy, I'm with Giamatti. He's the best.
Well, I was so excited to work with the guy.
Yeah.
And then really, really had a great experience. Actually, that movie is not, it's not.
What's the name of the movie again?
I think All Is Bright.
All Is Bright. Okay.
Which I think they also, there was a different working title for it, but the studios, they came up, they said, we got to come up with a title, and it was a Christmas themed movie, and they came up with All Is Bright for two reasons. One, because it's part of a Christmas carol, but it starts with an A, and they said, if you're scrolling on an in-demand, like this will be the first one that pops up.
Oh no.
Because it starts with an A.
Isn't Sally Hawkins in that?
Sally Hawkins is in that movie, yeah.
But you work with Giamatti. He's a funny guy. But after the movie's over, do you get together and hang out and stuff, or is that it? It's the experience is done.
I have spoken with him since, and we worked together again one other time. But he is one of those guys. You always hope that you maybe meet some person, like one on anything you work on. They say, "Oh, maybe I will be." It seems like I could be friends with this person. Giamatti is one of those guys that I'm a little in awe of. And
why is he such a great actor? I could tell you my theory, but I want to hear yours. Why? And when you say someone's a great actor, what does that mean exactly? What is it he's able to do?
Well, there are several things that I think that he's good at.
Right.
I mean, one, he commits to every moment. Like if he's playing somebody who's angry, he can be furious, and it doesn't seem fake.
So when you use the word commits,
yeah,
what you're talking about? Because Jim Carrey was actually talking about this. Like Jim Carrey said in
Jim Carrey is the epitome of somebody that commits to every single moment.
And that's why he's funny. Because even in the actor's studio, when he starts doing a bit, you go, uh-oh, this could not be fun. And then all of a sudden he does it with such a commitment, you laugh. Because I was thinking in Ace Ventura, the decision to do that dopey voice.
Oh.
Because you got to stick with it because for the rest of the movie, you got it. That's what you mean by commitment, right?
I think, yeah. He's not going half-ass in any moment. I mean, truly in Ace Ventura.
Right.
By the way, crying in that opening scene where he's kicking the box down the,
right.
How
many times have you watched Ace Ventura?
I don't know how. I mean, so many times.
It could be 50, right?
Yeah, and even recently, the second one, Ace Ventura, when he's there are so many when he's running and he's getting shot with those darts and he collapses. Just every single thing he does makes me laugh so hard, and nobody does that. Nobody does exactly what he does.
But it's so funny you're talking about commitment, because when he was describing it, I said, I always hear actors say they're fully committed, and I go, what the fuck does that mean? And then he said, I had to make the decision if I was going to do that dopey voice, and then once I did it, I said to the director, there's no turning back because we've already shot all that. I guess that's what commitment. It
looks like it doesn't ever look like in the moment that the actor is feeling. It doesn't look like they're self-conscious,
right?
Not self-conscious, or not kind of evaluating what they're doing while they're doing it. They're just fully engaged.
Is that the challenge on something like Ant-Man, because it is a comic book character? You've got to commit to whatever because you got to envision making that. I talked to Robert Downey Jr. about this, who, by the way, I saw him Saturday night, and he says, I said, oh, Paul Rudd's coming on the show. What's he like? He goes, he's the nicest guy I ever met. Now, and I know you hate that.
I don't hate it.
You don't want to be known as the nice guy, but he literally said to me, quote, he is the nicest guy I ever met.
He's great. That's another guy that I'm a little awed by, yeah.
Great actor.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to him, Tony Stark, you had a real, like, you know, you say, I remember I read Iron Man comics my entire life. And Tony Stark was this character, but if I had to actually make him come to life, it would be a very difficult task for me to envision all that.
Yeah.
So when you get something like Ant-Man, who I was convinced I was the only person on the planet who read
remember
Ant-Man.
you were
I
an
told you, I tried to buy the rights.
Yeah.
I wanted to play Ant-Man because I said, Marvel's going to want to just unload this on me because no one's going to want to be Ant-Man. Yet you took Ant-Man and made something fucking great out of it.
Aw, thanks.
But the point is, you have to sit down, like with any acting role, and say, who the fuck is Ant-Man? What's the process?
I don't know. I if you look at a guy like Robert Downey Jr. when he is doing Iron Man, I feel like there was probably such a looseness with him.
Yes.
And the way he kind of interprets things, the way he interacts with people. But certainly he takes on this role and there's a freedom to just kind of make it whatever he wants to make it.
But he made a decision.
He then created something where you can't even imagine another actor in that part. It's the same thing that if Jim Carrey is reading, or if anybody is reading the script of Ace Ventura, no one's going to play it like that.
You know how many people turned that role down because they couldn't even understand the script or what to do with it, right? I've read a tremendous amount of people, all could have been the pet detective, and they all passed on it.
And so then he takes it. In a way, it's almost like it doesn't even matter what was in the script, what the character was. Jim Carrey created this weird person.
This fully realized character.
And also...
But you did that with Ant-Man.
Also, everyone around him is normal.
See, that's why with this Scorsese thing saying, "Oh, Marvel movies aren't cinema," and Robert, had weighed in on that and it made news because he said, "Well, they're in movie theaters. I know that."
Right.
Are you insulted by that too when Scorsese says it's not cinema?
I mean, I'm not insulted by anybody saying anything really. Right. I don't get too bad, and I think.
But is it cinema? It is.
I think it is.
It is. And isn't coming up with the Ant-Man character just as difficult as being in any movie you ever did?
Well, ultimately, you really care about relationships with people. I mean, it isn't all just special effects driven. It is an action, whatever genre it falls into. You want to see people in human behavior and talking to each other. And I know that when we're working on these things, we care about the characters.
Right.
And in Ant-Man, I have a whole relationship with my daughter.
Right.
And the human struggles of being a superhero, and I think we're trying to deal with human issues and things that are relatable, that are not just rides.
I think because they were comic books, somehow people think these roles are frivolous and it doesn't matter what you do. It does matter. You've got to make me believe that Ant-Man is a real fucking guy.
I also think that, movies, it's all just changed so much. That there used to be, and this is just the way that it all functions now with studios, and they're not making middle, budgeted films for as much, and that's why so many of those writers are now going to television.
Yeah, and by the way, I think it's never been a better time to be an actor with Netflix and now the new Apple and the new Amazon, and there's so many places for actors to work. Unless you're hung up on being a movie star, and then, you're going to have limited opportunities because the movies have changed so much. But it's got to be a great time for actors to get work.
Well, I think there's just so many channels. There's so many outlets for shows, and
everything is streaming.
You hear some show, and it's like, oh, this one's on Crackle.
Goop.
It's on Goop.
And like, how do I get that? And what do I got to pay?
Do I have that?
I don't even know if I have it.
It's only $9 a month.
Do you?
And you can watch it on your phone.
Did you go to see Joker?
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I loved it.
I really want to see it. I haven't seen anything lately.
I just think you would be curious to see it. Do you go to the movies still?
I still do. I'd love it if there's a great movie. I just don't. I find that I don't go as much as I did.
Yeah, me neither. But I went to Joker.
Yeah, I really want to see that.
Yeah, no, he did some beautiful job with that. You talk about a full character. I said, in the same way they're going to probably nominate him for an Academy Award, I think Tony Stark is just as relevant. You know, when I was thinking about Ant-Man, I go, I buy it. Oh, I know what I have to ask you. I'm really curious about this, and you're going to be shocked that I'm curious about this. There's a theory going around that I read that Thanos, the evil Thanos, that Ant-Man was going to destroy him. It's called the Thanos experience, the Thanos theory.
Yeah.
That Ant-Man was going to crawl up Thanos' asshole and expand.
Right.
And blow up Thanos because you've been known to do shit like that as Ant-Man. I would have loved that. Was there any truth to...
I don't think there was ever... I think somebody started that. Somebody put that online, and then a lot of people would ask me about it. And it made me laugh because I thought, well, why the asshole?
Right.
Why the anus?
Well, how else would you get into him?
Ear, nose.
Well, that's true. But the anus, it's Thanos.
It's Thanos.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But I like it.
It does have a nice ring to it.
It seems like a simple way that you could kill that guy, just with crawling in his asshole.
I've been involved in actual debates which got serious about this thing where you think, well, if he has the space stone or whatever he has,
right.
Yeah, it wouldn't work.
Because he has all those rocks on his finger?
Yeah, and he could expand. Yeah.
You think one of those rocks would keep his anus super protected?
It's quite possible. If he can take out half of all civilization,
right?
Why couldn't he expand his anus?
Who is the strongest Avenger in your opinion? Who do you think will win in a fight if everyone fought? Would it be you? Would it be Thor? Would it be?
Well, I mean, I'm biased,
but you have awesome powers.
I have really, really good powers.
I don't know why Ant-Man, when I was a boy, wasn't as popular as the other ones because Ant-Man had awesome fucking powers.
When I was filming Ant-Man for the first time, there was a moment when I got to hang out a little bit with Stan Lee.
Yes, I was going to ask.
And this was the coolest day ever. And we were sitting. It was the day that he came in to shoot his cameo. And we were sitting by the monitors, and he said, I'm so happy that they're making Ant-Man into a film. And he said, the reason is, I always had this vision of Ant-Man. And every time you would read about him in the comic book, you could never really gauge the size. It just doesn't work with panels in a comic book.
You can't tell how small he is.
You don't have anything that's there's no reference. Right. And so he said, with a movie, you really will be able to see the way I envisioned it, which I've never really seen envisioned in the way that I kind of imagined.
I was so deep into it that Marvel and DC had this rivalry.
Right.
DC had the Atom. I don't know if you're aware of him. Yeah. The Atom would shrink down into tiny little size. Ant-Man would shrink down to little, and Atom came first. So I remember reading it and thinking, they're fucking ripping off the Atom. Marvel and DC had this rivalry going. But then I realized Ant-Man was communicating with ants. And ants, what I learned was ants have 6 times their body weight in strength, that they can lift something way above their, that's why you see them walking around with a crumb of bread, and they're like, no big deal.
They're incredible.
They're incredibly strong.
They're amazing creatures. I read up on them.
Yes, and I realized Atom could not really talk to anybody when he was small. He couldn't summon ants.
Yeah.
So I think Ant-Man could beat him up.
That was his big downfall.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Ant-Man could just bring in all the ants, take on Atom.
And just bury him with the ants.
Completely.
I would like to see Ant-Man versus Atom. Maybe they'll make a movie like that. I would actually like to see that. Do you ever kill ants?
You know what? I really try not to.
Yeah, me too.
It feels like bad karma. I don't like to kill anything.
Well, not that you're like the king of ants.
I don't. I really don't.
I don't either.
I really started thinking, am I really so much better than this spider?
That's how my wife and I rescued a moth. It's like we went through a whole thing. I mean, it's really weird.
Yeah.
You know?
I get it. I do it. And then every once in a while, you think, it's just too much of an inconvenience to step on it. But it's the numbers have decreased. I don't. I try not to kill anything.
I realize I interrupted you. Let's go back for a second to Clueless. So you go in on that,
right? Do
you recognize? Because I remember the director was a woman,
Amy Heckerling.
Amy Heckerling, who is phenomenal director.
Great.
Where is she now? Is she still alive?
She is.
She is.
Yeah, she's here. She's
What
living
happens
here.
to a woman like that? She was on fire with her career, Amy Heckerling, making movies.
Yeah.
Does she not do that anymore?
No, I think she does. She was doing a musical recently of Clueless, but I don't know exactly why after that film came out she didn't go and just do another one.
Do you read for the part when you go in? Do you have to?
I did. I went in about 5 or 6 times. When I went in,
because it's a pivotal part.
I didn't. I also asked to read for other parts.
Oh, you did. You said, "Hey, let me play the game here."
I just said when I read the script, I thought there were funny characters, and that the character that I played, I was Josh. Eventually, she said, "Well, will you read for Josh?" Because I thought that some of the other characters were really funny.
Yeah.
And I remember saying, "Oh, Murray, this guy is hilarious." And then she said, "Well, actually, we're going African American with that."
That's right. Murray was African American.
I didn't realize that.
How dare you? You should have realized that. No romance between you and Alicia Silverstone? I could have seen that happening.
No. It was, that's also a time where the age disparity is really noticeable. I think she had just turned. She might have been 17 or 18 or something.
How old were you at that point?
24.
Yeah, that might have been creepy.
Yeah,
Good thing you didn't fuck around.
I always felt a little bit like I was the old guy.
Right. Really? Isn't that weird?
I was just a couple of years older, but I was enough that I noticed like they were all teenagers. Yeah.
Yeah. Had you done Friends? No, of course not. You had done that, and then when you were on Friends.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard the funniest story that you pulled this kind of thing. So, you were on Friends once in a while because you played Phoebe's boyfriend and husband. Right? Yeah, you guys got married. And so you weren't on there that much. You would just go on. And were you viewing that at that point in your career like, hey, it's kind of cool to just drop in on a show?
Yeah, I mean, I was only ever supposed to do, I think, 2 episodes.
And they liked you on it, so they wrote you in more.
It was really nearing the end of the show.
Right.
I think it went 10 seasons, and I came in on the 9th season. And
that's a weird thing, right? Because when you come, and in a way, like look at Marvel, like you come in as Ant-Man a little bit later when this thing's all exploding.
Yeah.
And similarly with Friends.
It's a weird thing that I have twice now in my career joined a very well-established, well-known group. And my whole MO is I just don't want to get in the way.
Right. But you said something where you thought it was a joke. Do you remember this story that you went to Jennifer Aniston, I guess? And I guess it was near the maybe almost the last show.
It was the last show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What did you say to her?
Well, it was.
You wanted to do something funny.
It was weird because with the last episode of Friends, and that was a massive story.
Huge.
Huge.
I mean, and you're there. And they're all crying and carrying on.
It's an emotional experience.
Right.
They've been there for 10 years. They've grown up with each other on this show. And
made their name with this show, everything. And now it was ending.
And I'm still in that, oh my God, I can't believe there's that Jouet sign that's over the, hanging over the television in Chandler and Monica's apartment.
Right.
So I was never used to it. And but I just, I kind of wanted to join in on the, the feeling and the emotion of it all. So Jennifer and Marta Kaufman, the writer, they were hugging and crying, and I would just go over and join the embrace and say, guys, what a ride, huh? I mean, like, I can't believe
that's funny. What a ride. But they didn't like that. You said you were.
I think they were fine with. But they might have
felt it bombed your line.
It bombed.
What a ride.
I bombed. I would. That is a common thing where the joke gene kicks in, and it's like, dude, read the room.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be funny, and you were funny, and it was good.
Oh, they were sweet about but
You said the first day on the set there that you almost got fired. You thought you were going to get fired because you took a set. You were riding around the set on a Segway, and you ran over Jennifer Aniston's foot.
She had a Segway. I think it was the first episode, maybe it was the first or second episode, and she had a Segway because I think it was a brand new thing, and she was zipping around the
having fun
stage.
on the set.
Yeah, and her foot had been injured. Like she had, I don't know. I think she had a broken foot. Not that she needed a Segway to get around, but she was kind of using this thing, and so Matt LeBlanc wanted to try it,
right?
And I said, "Oh, can I try?" I'd never been.
Let's have some fun.
Yeah,
yeah.
And she was holding it as I was standing on it and saying, "Okay, just be careful because the finding your center of gravity is a challenge." And I was like, okay, all right. And then she let go, and I started to lean back and I turned the thing instead of going straight, and it just ran over her foot.
Her bad foot.
Her bad foot.
She already had a bad foot.
Yeah.
And you and like, what was the aftermath? Did she start like crying?
She went, oh, and then and I could tell. I mean, she like immediate shock. There were a group of people, including writers and producers,
all running over.
They looked completely freaked out. She said, "I'm okay. I'm okay. And then she
meanwhile,
sat in.
is she like wincing and like?
Oh, she was in pain.
Oh yeah, she was.
Yeah, no,
pain.
she was.
Do you think she was playing it up a little just to make you feel bad?
Immediately, I think it was that default mechanism in her. She's like, no, don't worry, it's fine. I'm okay. I just need to sit down for a second.
But was it like, oh, I'm okay. Oh, and limping and everything?
Yeah, kind of like hand up. Just give me a sec.
Oh, everyone must have hated you.
Oh yeah, no, I felt like a complete idiot.
You had to ride the Segway.
Yeah. You had to ride. Yeah.
You had to ride the
Segway. Matt LeBlanc is obviously familiar around vehicles. He hosted the driving show. I shouldn't be on a Segway.
And if he runs over her foot, he's a regular on the show. He's got equal status.
They're not getting rid of Joey.
No, they're not. But
Mike Hannigan can get no one's going to miss Mike Hannigan.
I don't even remember your name, Mike Hannigan. I can't even believe that. I would have killed myself. That's the worst.
It's
so funny, right? Are you friendly with the cast still? I mean, do you ever?
Yeah, I mean, I'm friends with Jennifer. I've been friends with her for a very long time, and so I've thankfully I knew her
right
before that. I knew David Schwimmer,
right,
and I knew Aniston
before they blew up.
Before Friends.
Oh,
and then the other cast I kind of got to know a little bit on that show.
Is it weird when you know Jennifer Aniston and Schwimmer, and you're all struggling actors, and then all of a sudden they blow up in a show? Do you just get so fucking jealous you want to just jump out a window?
I didn't get jealous. I really didn't. I just found the whole thing kind of fascinating to watch, though.
Did you? Who knows how comfortable you are saying this, but do you notice the personality changes in them as they get bigger? Like now they're like the Beatles. It's like being on Friends is like joining the Beatles. And poor you come in for a session on the Beatles and you run over people's feet with the Segway. I mean, oh my God. They'll tell you, John Lennon is going to let you play organ. You're Billy Preston and you fucking run over his, and he can't play the guitar or something. But because that's the analogy. But when you knew Jennifer Aniston and she was a struggling actress and you knew Schwimmer and, he's like all of us, we go out, we party, we this, that. All of a sudden that fame hits. Is it fascinating to see the personality change?
I think, when I see them or I've talked to them over the years, they don't seem different to me. However, I think that they were and are really at a level of such fame that I see, and you can see it happen with anybody who becomes really famous, I think a little bit more reclusive.
Do you think that happened with you with Ant-Man? Because, okay, yes, everyone knew your face. Everyone knows you as an actor. But Ant-Man made a shitload of money. Kids know you.
Yeah.
You're fucking Ant-Man. It's crazy.
It's surreal.
Does it get a little nutty in your personal life?
It only can get a little weird when I'm with my kids. But my kids are used to it now, too, where it's like I'm out and people are just yelling Ant-Man.
Do they hate it in the sense that they don't want to share they don't want to see people fawning all over you? Like Bruce Springsteen was on Jimmy Kimmel's show the other night, and he was saying, my kids do not want to see me in front of 50,000 people and everyone yelling Bruce. They don't give a shit. They want you focused on them.
That's right.
No.
That's absolutely, as it should be.
Can you get caught up in that as a dad? Can you want them in a secret sort of way to see you as Ant-Man and everyone fawning all over you and kids freaking out? And maybe on some level it's kind of cool, but then you go to yourself, oh shit, this is probably fucking them up.
My whole thing, I think, as any parent, you just, no matter what you do, you just don't want, whatever your actions are, whatever your job, you just don't want your kids to get fucked up in some way. Yeah. And we just want to protect our children. No, my relationship with my kids is very much as a dad. Yeah. And they look at me as their dad.
But would you bring them to the set? Of a Marvel movie where you're doing Ant-Man?
Yeah, they came to the set of.
Is this good or bad, do you think?
I think it's okay, assuming, my wife and I are really instilling what this is a job, and we're very fortunate that we've been able to have we get to travel, we get to meet interesting people, and what and I love what I do. That's an important thing. But I don't know. When my son was about 3 years old, he went through this phase where he didn't want my wife and I to talk to each other.
Right.
And one time we were just having a conversation, and he said, "Stop talking." And I said, "Jack, look, this is a good thing. Mom and Dad are going to talk.
Yeah,
and we need to, and it's okay." And so we kept talking, and he said, "Stop, be quiet. Be quiet. Action." and I stopped and I looked at him, and he was completely serious, and he said, "You're not allowed to talk when they say action."
Oh, wow.
And I thought, this kid's been on too many sets.
Yeah. We're taking him out of this showbiz thing. Well, you live in New York.
I do.
I was surprised. I said to my wife, I go, Paul lives in New York. And she goes, of course, we saw him at the Knicks game. I go, oh, yeah, that's right. We saw him at the Knicks game. Are the Knicks going to be any good this year? I mean, be honest.
I never assume. I don't know anything. No. I don't. If history is any judge,
no.
See, I have a theory, and maybe you're the same way. I don't want them to be good because I get those front row seats. I'm afraid if they got too good, I'd probably have to sit in the second row, and then then I'd be humiliated. Wouldn't you be humiliated if they moved you to the second row at the Knicks game?
Now that they're popular,
Isn't that a sign that you've made it when you get the front row seats?
It was very exciting to sit down there and watch. I mean, my God, that was pretty cool.
I wouldn't go if I had to sit in the second row. My ego couldn't handle it. I would say, wow, I've really kind of fallen. I don't know. You never know. It's just really, and you were sitting next to 50 Cent at the game.
Yeah.
And then I always looked into the second, third row to see who's back there, to see who was there. And
who was there? Do you remember?
I remember one time I turned around and I saw that comedian, what the heck's his name? He's on the...
JB Smoove?
JB Smoove. I go, JB, you're third row? He goes, yeah. What did you think? I go, well, maybe be in the second row. He goes, I'm fine being in the third row. That's my lane. I know where I'm at. I go, I'm sorry. I said, let me see if I can help you out. Because it's all right. I'm fine. I don't want to be in the first row. That was so great. I love this behind the scenes stuff. You tell me if it's true on Ant-Man, Avengers. You got a hold of Captain America's shield. In other words, he had to walk. The guy who plays Captain America.
Yeah.
He gives the shield. I guess he had to take a shit or something, and he goes and he hands it to the PA or somebody.
Right.
And you say, "Hey, PA, give me that fucking shield.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold it."
Yeah.
You were shocked. It was heavier than you thought.
It's heavy.
You got to be strong to play.
Well, it is impossible to not be kind of caught up in all of the stuff. I mean, we were shooting Endgame, and it's like, wow. There's the gauntlet.
Yeah.
And there's Thor's hammer.
You get genuinely excited.
Yes.
I would too.
I mean, all of the memorabilia, all of this stuff that I know is like kind of ingrained in people's consciousness.
Is there a problem when you're filming an iconic thing like that where you go, shit, maybe I should grab something. Maybe I should take my Ant-Man
I just assume,
antlers
I assume they're just monitoring everything.
They do.
And
you can't take that
it
home.
would be a real bad move to try and pocket a shield.
Not pocket, but would you be a douchebag if you went up to them and said, "Oh, can I keep my Ant-Man
I've done it.
boots?" Oh,
I did it.
What do you have?
I have an Ant-Man helmet.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Now tell me about the helmet.
Yeah.
I heard the helmet that they make for you is terribly it's hard to hear when you're wearing the helmet. And that you have trouble. I mean, it affects your acting too. It's a bit of a problem that when you're wearing the helmet, you can't hear very well. It's muffled.
It's not too bad.
Oh.
I have not found it to be that bad, but I also a lot of times have the helmet on and don't have a face shield.
I see. Right.
And they'll digitally add some things. But the helmets are they get to be they're not the most comfortable things in the world, but it's not too bad. I think some are probably worse than other. I think the whole Black Panther costume is got to be tough.
Are you shocked when you see yourself in those movies? Because I would imagine there's so much green screen special effects and everything. In a way, of course, you're probably half the shit you shoot. You're imagining.
You see it for the first time when you see the movie sometimes. Like that Endgame, that whole sequence. It was like, oh my God. So this is what it looks like. And you do kind of have to imagine certain things. But there's also...
And it's amazing what they do.
It's incredible. I mean, they've got really talented people doing
Are you talking about
effects.
where people start disappearing and stuff?
All of this stuff, yeah.
Wow.
It was really it's cool to see. It's cool to see because you work on something, but it's still nice when you see the movie to be surprised.
When the dude who plays the Hulk, he does a good job. I can't think of his name.
Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo. Yeah. Okay, that's about it. But I'm saying, no, I'm just joking. I'm busting balls.
Take it easy.
Paul says he's a better actor than Mark Ruffalo, but that's off camera. I don't want you to say. But
he's not impressed with Mark.
No, he doesn't like Mark. But you like
Mark. I love Mark. Mark's actually the only one that I knew. I've known Mark for decades.
But you're having a bromance with Jeremy Renner, yes?
Renner,
no?
we got.
I heard you were like really. You guys were almost like banging each other.
We did. They split up people to do the press junkets.
Yes.
And Jeremy Renner and I were paired together. And I like Jeremy a lot. But one of the things I loved about doing press with him is that he truly does not care.
He's crazy.
He does not care about your interview. He doesn't care. Like he's just he's kind of
he's kind of nuts, right?
He's kind of. I don't think he's nuts. I think he's really. I think he's very. I find him to be pretty funny dude. I really like him. But.
Yes, go ahead, but
no, but we were. I think the whole absurdity of all of it just kind of struck us early on in our interviews, and so they just became more and more ridiculous.
But as an actor, it is show business. I don't have to explain this to you. You do have to go out and sell a movie, right?
Yeah.
You have to go all over the place
Yeah.
and do this thing. Jeremy could get in. He can't let you do all the heavy lifting and answer all the douchey questions. He's got to chip in. And
I think he did.
All right, okay.
I think he did.
Yeah. Stop it. Where was I reading? You had to go to like Hong Kong to promote an action ride or an Ant-Man action ride or something. These guys got.
It does seem to support the Scorsese of it all.
Yes, but what is the contract here? Does Marvel own you lock, stock? In other words, for me to get Paul Rudd to go to Hong Kong to promote an action ride,
oh man,
they better pay my ass.
Oh no, I was so excited to do it.
Were you?
There's at Disneyland. Out there, they had an Ant-Man ride.
I see.
It was
Is it a good ride?
Nano Battle.
Do you like the ride?
Yeah, I loved it.
Those rides scare me. I wouldn't do any of them.
This is it's
a nice ride.
Yeah, it's not. You shrink down and you have to shoot things, and it's it was pretty fun.
Yeah, no, that's cool, but. It's what else is weird when you think about promoting those movies? They never want you to know anything. They don't want any spoilers. So you're there and you're talking to the press, and all you can say is, "I can't tell you."
That's the worst part of it all.
And you feel like, what are we doing here?
I feel bad for the interviewer because what are they going to tell? And then it just turns into some stupid little anecdotal thing that has nothing to do with anything, and we're all just trying to fill 5 minutes.
And at some point, you probably say to yourself, do they really need to promote these movies? Each one of them makes $2 billion.
Yeah.
They don't give you back-end taste on an Ant-Man, or they do?
No.
Or the ride or anything?
Because look at this.
I know.
Really? You don't get back-end on
I bet I could get on the ride for free, though.
You think? Yeah, I imagine you show up and they charge you for the ride. You know what? I've had enough. But listen to this stat I read. Paul Rudd. 83rd on the Forbes 100 list, earning $41 million. You're very fucking successful.
I'm not so sure. Million. By the way, I'm not so sure that list is right.
Really?
Yeah.
They have it wrong? Forbes seems to know what they're talking about.
I don't think that is totally accurate.
But you made more?
No, I definitely didn't make more. I didn't make that much either.
Really? That's a lot of moolah.
No. But, that's, with that. But
isn't that great, though? I root for actors to make money because so few get to that point where they can make $41 million.
To be able to make a living doing what you love is awesome.
Do you still love it?
I do. I really do love it. But I do find over the last several years, I get a little more cranky, and sometimes I'll be on something and go like, why am I here?
Is it why am I here? Because you're missing your family and you're missing that kind of time with the kids and all that?
That's just it. Yeah.
And you go, what am I fucking doing in life?
Mm-hmm.
Because you actually have enough money, you could stop.
And then I'm off for a few months, and then something interesting. I still love to work, and I love the work itself.
But now you're older and you have a family,
and it starts to shift. Yeah.
Hosting Saturday Night Live 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
You like
You're
that.
You're almost in that club.
I know. One away to the jacket.
You think you'll do it again?
I
Get
hope
into
so.
the 5-time club?
I'd like to.
What do? They just call you up and say, hey, is it like, it's usually around when you have something to promote, right?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah. Is it fun?
It is fun. It's a very intense week. I have since, now that I've done it 4 times, I know what the week looks like a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I remember after doing it the first time, I looked at the rest of the cast and said, how do you guys do this every week? It's crazy. It feels like you're shot out of a rocket ship.
Yeah.
Because one of the most interesting things about it is, you do the monologue, and then as soon as that's over, they grab you. There are stations all over the soundstage there, or the studio, and they'll throw you in this kind of closet where there are 4 other people, and it's like a pit crew.
Right.
Somebody pulls off your pants, somebody puts a wig on you, and then they zip you around the back. You don't know where you are. Then you walk through a door, and then you're on the set of another sketch. And so it's constant.
You know what's cool about that? Because when I think back, when I read about old show business, and I read about your show of shows and Sid Caesar and stuff, and they all used to Milton Berle. They all worked live, and they do these sketch shows. Yeah. And there's none of that anymore. I mean, it's the only last really live sketch show that exists.
There's no way this could exist now.
Yeah.
But if somebody tried to pitch it now, but honestly, I feel like it's a New York history, so it's very exciting to be in it. But I've also had really amazing musical guests.
Yeah, who've you been on with? That's to me would be very interesting.
The first show I ever did, it was Beyonce.
Right.
The second one was Paul McCartney.
Oh God.
And I remember I was at home and my phone rang at about 1 a.m, and it was Bill Hader, and he called me and said, dude, your musical guest is Paul McCartney.
Wow.
And I didn't go back to sleep. And
you were excited because first of all, you also know with a musical guest like that, everyone's going to be tuning in to see Saturday Night Live.
Oh, I just thought, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to be in the same room with Paul McCartney. And so when I think back of all the times I've hosted that show, certain things kind of pop out. And on Thursdays, that's when the bands come in and do their setup and all that kind of stuff and their sound checks. So simultaneous to that, on the same side of the stage, they're taking those photographs that they use for the commercial bumpers. So I was getting pictures taken, and it was about 11 or 12, and Paul McCartney and his band come in, and they go through, they play Jet, and there's
and you're just sitting there, and what are there 10 people in the audience?
Yeah, there's just the camera guys, and then
I'd be in heaven.
It was, and they said, well, we're not taking pictures. So then I went down and watched him, and then they brought in a grand piano on the floor, not even on the stage, because he was trying to figure out what he might play next. So he came down and sat at this piano, and I was just standing kind of over his shoulder. Hadn't had eye contact with him, hadn't said hello, nothing. But he sat down, and he was sitting at the piano trying to figure out what to play, and he just sat down and started playing Long and Winding Road.
Oh.
To see how it felt on that piano.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was, I looked at his feet on the pedals, and I was looking at his fingers pressing the keys, and I'm watching over Paul McCartney's shoulder him sing Long and Winding Road. And slowly but surely, more people started filtering into the studio. Not that many, but he played the whole song, and we all applauded. And he said, oh, thank you very much. And then he went into Lady Madonna. And then he started playing Beatles songs for all of us in the room.
Do you think he was doing it for all of you in the room, or he was trying to get a feel for what he wanted to perform on Saturday Night Live?
Both. I think he was trying to figure out what he might do. But, one of the things that I love so many things about Paul McCartney, right. But it seems as if it's fun to see people when they've achieved a certain place in life and their place in it, and they're comfortable with it. And he seems to be in that place. It's like an enlightenment. And he knows we all want to hear his music. We all know.
But how generous of him to do that.
Incredibly.
Because some people be like, fuck you guys. I'm getting out of here. But, you describe watching his hands and his feet. Don't you try to say to yourself, now, freeze this in my memory.
Yes, I do.
I don't want to forget this. And it's so interesting what we focus on. I've gone to concerts and things where I'll just be mesmerized. Like I watched Bon Jovi on stage one day, and I'm mesmerized by the guy who plays keyboards because I love how he interacts with John. Like you You pick these moments and you try to freeze them in your head.
That's exactly right. And you have to make a mental note. You have to say, don't forget this. This is special.
Right.
Because we've been hearing these songs. I heard Long and Winding Road my whole life. It's a beautiful, incredible song, as we all know. And I'm looking at his hands saying, those were the hands that played that note, those keys when it was written, when it was recorded. It was that. That foot was pressing that.
You're watching Mozart.
You're watching Mozart.
Right.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. What a rare treat, right?
Oh, my God. It really is. And so in a way, it's almost like, well, who cares about anything else? This is, at the end of a life, when I look back, I'm going to say, God damn, I got to see Paul McCartney play Long and Winding Road for like 10 people.
And you're watching his process as he's working out, gee, what do I want to perform on TV?
Yeah.
You'd think he'd know, but like any master at their craft, they don't know. They have to sit there and figure out what it is they need to do.
Yeah, he wasn't sure. He didn't come in with a set list.
No.
He knew he was going to, it was incredible.
Oh, man, I just think that's such a great story. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten to interview Paul a couple of times, and I'm blown. And he called me one time in my house at Christmas to wish me a Happy New Year or a Happy Christmas or something. I mean, I didn't believe it was him. I thought it was Paul Tolegny from NBC. I didn't even know who the hell it was.
He's a really, really nice guy.
Yeah. And by the way, Bill Hader calling you, that guy, he's really an incredible talent, too.
So talented. Really talented, really funny, and actually, yes, one of my good dear friends. I love that guy.
Are you still in business with the guy from Walking Dead with that candy store?
Yeah.
You are?
Mm-hmm.
How's the candy store doing?
It's doing all right.
What's his name?
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He seems like a decent guy.
Oh, man, he's the coolest.
Yeah.
He is so cool. People they get a little weirded out around him. He's got a power.
He does.
He has a power. Like women,
he's a little scary.
Women love him,
yeah.
And he's just cool. Like he has that thing where it's just, God, I'll never be cool. Like he's just effortlessly cool, and like a man.
Yeah,
he's a man.
Like when he walks, he's cool.
Yeah,
everything he does is
cool. Yeah,
I'm amazed by you because you look very youthful. Like you are much younger looking than your age.
I'm old.
How old are you now?
50.
50. And you look like you look like a kid, which is great for movies. I mean, let's face it.
You could still do Clueless.
You. Yeah. You really could. You don't look that different.
I feel 100 inside.
This new show that you're doing, Paul Rudd is going to be in something called Living with Yourself, which is on Netflix, which is my point. You get to do a thing like this, which maybe you couldn't do in the movies because, it's a long-form kind of piece.
Right.
And it's you playing your best version of yourself versus your worst version of yourself. Got to be weird playing against yourself.
Yeah, it's a new experience.
Yeah, that's weird to me. So how do they work that technically?
I recorded the lines for both characters.
Yeah.
And whatever character was driving the scene was the one that I would film first. And I would just put an earwig, a little thing in my ear, and I would act like I was there. I didn't have there wasn't another actor in the scene with me. I would just act to air, but I would hear my lines as I was going to say them as the other character. So I would just react to the audio.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a technical nightmare.
It was tricky. And
it's you versus you in the show.
Yeah, because I get cloned. So yeah.
I love when Tom Brady gets cloned.
Tom Brady, that's
6 times.
6 times.
Yeah, I thought that was really good.
One for each ring.
How do you get him to do the little acting part?
Tim Greenberg is the guy who wrote it. He wrote these things, all scripts, I think about 4.5 years ago.
Right.
And he was like, even before, I think back when he had 4 rings or maybe even 3, it's like the idea that we would have a clone and it's the best version of ourselves, that they just do everything right, that they're great.
I love the idea that Tom
Brady is the epitome of that. And
it is, because when you see Tom Brady, the amount of times in his career he's been hit and everything else, and the guy's really healthy. He plays super well. He's that old, and he can still play football like a young man. He has to be a clone. Of course he's been cloned.
He is called the GOAT for a reason.
Right.
And so, we sent him these scripts like a year and a half ago or something. Sent him, and I was so touched. He was, he got the joke of kind of making fun of himself and his perfection. And he's like, yeah.
I thought it was weird. He was outside a massage parlor. in light of what happened on the Patriots too.
Well,
yeah, no,
that was written before.
I've seen some of these, the stories that I had a feeling that I have never ever had in my life, which was, oh my God, I feel bad for Tom Brady.
Right.
I know someone always should ever feel, but it's like this guy was throwing us a bone. He was doing us a favor, and he was kind of making fun of himself and his perfection. And then all of a sudden, I think Boston media.
There's very few original ideas, and this was a very original idea.
It's really.
I really like the show because the idea that you can go somewhere and get yourself cloned and be a better version of yourself. Very attractive to me. I would like to meet my better self. But then again, the show points out you really don't want to meet your better self.
Or is your better self really your better self? What is our the best versions of ourselves?
Yeah, it's a good question. It really is. I got to tell you, I admire your career, and I was thinking, when you're doing Ant-Man and you're doing a big Marvel film, the move to Netflix. That's like a big decision, whether or not you want to go do Netflix or you just want to concentrate on movies, right? That's a whole business decision.
I've never done a television show. I mean, minus like Friends and kind of doing some recurring roles. I've never been on a show. But this one, I just thought it was 8 episodes.
Good experience?
It was very good experience. Same directors. It was this couple, Dayton and Ferris, who did Little Miss Sunshine and Battle of the Sexes. They're great directors.
Oh, so they don't bring in 30 other guys?
Nope. We had one writer. The same directors, 8 episodes. It's a self-contained thing. You can just watch it. It was like basically doing a 4-hour movie. Yeah. And so I just read them and I thought, God, these are really good. I really was drawn into the scripts.
And your wife in the show, very attractive.
Beautiful, funny, great Irish actress. Her name's Aisling B. She's a comedian.
When I was watching her, I was like, oh, yeah, some bed scenes, a little lovemaking.
Yeah, thankfully it didn't have to be too.
Thankfully,
convincing.
Howard wanted to be very graphic.
No, when I read a script, I go, am I in bed with anyone? And if I am, okay, we're on. It's on. Let's go.
Yes, I'll take the part.
I swear to you, Paul, I had a boner in my movie through every love scene.
It's a weird thing. I always thought, even like when actors or they say like, oh. Is the crew's there? It's all and you really,
bring everyone.
I was like,
they disappear from me.
But I remember, like, as a kid, I'd hear people say this in interviews, and I think, give me a break.
Right. But you subscribe to that. You do say it is awkward to get in bed with an actress.
It's awkward. It is awkward in that you're kissing somebody or you're lying on top of them. And in Aisling's case, she had no shirt on, but she had the little stickers that go
the pasties.
The pasties,
yeah.
And
I'm starting a company making those, by the way. You and that Jeffrey Dean Morgan might want to come in business with me.
We could sell them at the candy store.
Edible pasties.
There actually is a thing my wife buys. They call nippets, and they covers up your nips.
Right. Nippets.
Nippets, so you don't have to wear a bra.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And so, you think I'm laying on top of this poor girl. I'm kissing her.
You feel bad for her.
And and we're at work. This is our job. This is our job. And thankfully,
what do you do? Do you see the absurdity in it and start laughing?
Oh, absolutely. We were laughing throughout all of it. And Aisling is telling stories about you can't turn on the air conditioning in a room because the mics pick up the sound.
Right.
Yes.
So it gets hot. She's sweating. Her nippets are falling off. And so I am trying to position my arms so the cameras and the crew can't see.
You feel protective of her.
Protective.
Yes.
And so it.
Do you say to her, your nippets have fallen off? Or
I think she was aware.
I see.
But then it's weird because the scene's over and she's just got a nippet on her neck.
How'd this get here? Oh my God! It's just so strange.
Yeah, it's weird. But it's a super weird thing to do.
I thought it was weird that I got aroused in every scene I was in with a woman. I mean, anytime I was in any proximity, I was aroused. I said, "What's wrong with me?" I mean, I'm clearly not an actor.
I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, just your biology.
It's fantastic. Well, you have to watch Paul Rudd in Living with Yourself. It asks the philosophical. It's a funny show, but you also have to sit there and ponder the question: what if they could make a better version of me? Would I hate this person or would I like them?
And
Would
who's
I want?
choosing what's better?
That's right. I mean, it's,
Well, Robin, you're asking a very important question. It's very, very urgent. Look at you. You're really killing it. You're doing it.
Look at the three of us right now.
Look at us.
Here we are.
Maybe Paul McCartney's not in the room, but Fred's here.
Fred's here.
That's right. Take a
Hi,
look.
Fred. I know.
Yeah. Oh, you sure you want to see him? Okay. There he is. He's there. Yeah. He sure is.
He's not looking.
There's the four of us, really.
No.
It's hard because we're separated by this partition.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, God. I was, thinking about love scenes. I knocked over the craft services table with my boner one time. It was very embarrassing. Now.
But impressive.
Yes. Paul Rudd. The show is called Living with Yourself, available exclusively on Netflix. From what I'm hearing, good experience on Netflix. They didn't interfere while you were shooting.
No, they were great.
They don't send any executives down to nudge you?
No, not even once. They were supportive. I mean, they've been pretty terrific as far as giving, directors and writers their time.
They're good people.
They really, it's been, it was a good experience.
No show notes from a guy up in an office somewhere?
No, it did.
You know what I was watching you on, and I had such mixed emotions. You did that show, Between Two Ferns, with Zach Galifianakis.
Right.
And, it's a funny show.
Yeah.
In that you're sitting there, and you're a good sport, because to me, I liken it to a roast.
Yeah.
The guy sits you down, and he says every insulting thing he can think of saying to Paul Rudd. And obviously,
he probably had a lot more that he did. Not everything. He had more.
But don't you get? I could not do that show because I would get offended.
Oh no, that's another guy, Zach Galifianakis.
Yes,
that is one of the funniest people I've ever met and have ever seen. Like his whole style. I mean, when he was doing, before Hangover, when he was just doing stand-up, kind of starting off, he was one of my favorite comedians. I just think he's so funny. And
well, he turns to you in the show and he says, Paul, couldn't you help other Jewish actors hide their Jewishness? And I said, that is the greatest, funniest line ever.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden I was like, I didn't know Paul was Jewish.
He's been hiding
it. And, he has been hiding his Jewishness. I did not realize that. Where'd you grow up again?
I grew up
in Kansas?
I was born here. I lived in New Jersey. Yeah. I then lived in California. I moved to Kansas City.
They don't have any Jews in Kansas.
They do, but they didn't go to my school.
Was it awful? Being serious, like I've gone to places, unlike you, I can't hide my Jewishness. I was slapped a yarmulke when I was born. But seriously, growing up in Kansas and there's no other Jews around, it's got to be terribly, you got to feel somewhat alienated, I would think at the least.
I was, because of my dad's job, and he worked for an airline, and
he was a pilot.
He was in management for TWA, sales management.
Oh, I thought he was a pilot.
He wasn't a pilot, but TWA's hub was in Kansas City, which is why we wound up there. But I was always a new kid in a new school from the time I was in
TWA had him.
He was always getting job transfers and things like that. And so when I was 10, I'd already been in, I don't even know how many schools. I think because my parents were both British, that I had moved around. I was always a new kid in school, and I was Jewish, certainly in Kansas City, and I knew that was I was in the minority there. I always felt a little different than I guess most of the kids. And what I learned kind of early on is that, like, if I make Jewish jokes about myself, I noticed that all of the kids would laugh really hard. Yeah. It wasn't until I got older, I'm like, that's kind of messed up.
Yeah.
But it was, yeah. Because that's also
were there a lot of like anti-Semitic comments and hey Jew boy and all that?
I
shit?
got that, yeah. I mean, not a ton.
Right.
I mean, I would think that the majority of people probably didn't care. What if they even knew? It wasn't anything. I have never tried to hide anything, but I'm also not a particularly religious person. But
you're not kidding. You celebrate Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're doing that.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
That's by the way,
that's about as hiding your Jewishness as you can get.
You can't do any better than that.
It's the best. By the way, it's the best.
Christmas is awesome.
Oh man,
yes,
it's my favorite part about being Jewish.
Oh my God. I mean, it's sometimes crazy when I think about growing up in Kansas. I can't even imagine, because I know what's down in people's hearts, and they're not. A lot of people are just real bad bad motherfuckers who want to get at you with some way.
The thing is weird is that that's a part of the country that is it's Bible Belt.
Yep.
And so
did you get bar mitzvahed?
I did. Yeah.
In Kansas?
In Canada.
Oh, in Canada.
In Toronto, because I had a lot of family that was in Toronto.
Oh, by then you had moved out of Kansas?
No, I was still living in Kansas, but it was like instead of having everybody come to Kansas City,
right?
Let's just go to this.
I don't even think you could have been bar mitzvahed in Kansas City. Where are you going to find a rabbi? And then you're not going to invite those kids from school.
They're there. They're there.
No, but when Zach says to you, "How did you hide your Jewishness?" I go, "Oh my God!" And then there were like 50 insults in a row. And I go, "I realize you're being roasted."
Yeah, but also there's people say, "Oh, this is written." Oh, it's rehearsed. It's not. I had no idea what Zach was going to say. We just film it. He has his list of questions.
Yeah.
And you have to react.
But
you chose, you consciously chose. It's an acting assignment, really. That's why I don't think I'd be good at it. I would probably erupt, but maybe that would be good. I don't know. But you sat there and you kind of calmly took it.
Right.
And I said, you know what? That isn't easy to take. He said some really mean things to you, but you were laughing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't take any of it. I think it is really funny, and also the jokes are really good.
Yeah, they were great.
But Zach is also one of the sweetest guys. I don't know if you've.
I've never met him.
Oh,
no.
He is really And then as soon as it's not. As it's done, he's like, "I'm so sorry."
He feels awful.
Yeah, but it's you
felt like you were back in Kansas.
You know what's going to play. You know what's going to hopefully work. And he is legitimately
one of the. Yeah.
Oh God.
Well, I don't mean to insult you by saying you're a really nice guy.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And Paul Rudd is in Living with Yourself. You got to check it out on Netflix. That's why he's here. He's not here for his health. He's not looking to be on the radio necessarily.
I'm not even here to even talk about the show. I've talked about it so much. My wife said, she said, oh God. She said, you should just call this Talking About Myself.
I know. You do get sick of it, right? Yeah. I went out to California last week. And
I know.
I talked about my book for like 3 appearances and Sirius XM.
Which is great, by the way.
Thank you. And and then after 3 appearances, I said, okay, I think everybody's had enough of me. I'm going home.
There is nothing I cannot stand the sound of my own voice. I just don't want to talk. I hate myself.
Is that what the attraction is to being an actor? That you get to immerse yourself in another, like you could be Ant-Man all day. You could be the guy in Living with Yourself all day. But when you're talking or promoting or doing this kind of, you're just like, fuck. Are you quiet off camera?
I think at times, I think maybe more so now in my life than I was earlier on.
Yeah.
This is part of, I think that there's also different levels. Like coming here, I'm a fan, as you know, of you and of the show. And so it's fun to come here. It's fun to do certain things because I'm a fan of people. It was really always very exciting to go do the Letterman show.
Right.
But
how many times did you get to do that?
Pretty good number of times.
Did you feel pressure being on that show?
Absolutely.
Did you feel you had to be delightful and funny and
yeah,
brilliant?
Yeah. I mean, that show was always different than every other show, and I know you feel this. You've talked about it.
Absolutely.
He was our, and he's my hero, and so it becomes a thing of I just want him to not be bummed out I'm on the show.
Right. That's how I always felt too.
That's what it really kind of boils down to. But this is. There's so much noise. There's so many things. There's too many shows. There's so many movies. And so now it's kind of part of the deal that you got to go talk about it, which I understand. I get that.
No, listen, you have to break through all that noise and somehow get your project heard.
Get it out there.
That's right. And so I think it's expected and I understand that. It's my job. And so I try and do it as best I can. However, at a certain point, I just feel.
What are you doing the rest of the day? You got to go do more promotion, or are you done?
No. I'm done.
That's it.
I'm picking my daughter up from school, and then we're going to gymnastics.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun for you.
That's the best.
Yeah, but you can only take that so long, and then you go right back to acting. All right, I get it. You don't have to say.
One other thing we ought to mention. I loved The Catcher Was a Spy.
Oh my God! Thanks.
Great movie.
Look at you,
People
Robin.
ought to see that movie.
Wow! Thanks, Robin.
And there's Robin's music.
That was
That's the stamp.
You get that music.
That was the other movie with Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Giamatti again. Look at this.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even know enough about acting when I did my movie to know that Giamatti was so great. Like, all I know is I thought about it after I finished the whole movie, and I go, you know, when I was doing those scenes with that guy, it was pretty easy. And then I realized why. Because he was so good that it seemed so like real life that I didn't have to, it was effortless.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you get to act with really, really good actors, it makes your job easy, which is why living with yourself was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Because you had to act with yourself.
I had to act with myself.
You're acting with yourself.
And now I'm just like, oh, God, I feel terrible for all the people who've had to work with poor Paul Giamatti.
Oh, man. Let's leave it at that.
Oh, my goodness.
No, you're doing great, man. And congratulations on the Netflix show. Congratulations on the whole Marvel thing. Are we going to be doing more Marvel movies? I mean, we got another Ant-Man in us? Or what are we talking about? Are we under contract?
Yeah, again, this is that same thing where I'm not really allowed to
can't talk about it?
Say anything.
What is the new world
What the
of
fuck
Marvel?
is wrong with these guys? I mean, you can't even talk about it.
They're getting ridiculous.
And you know what it is? They pay you so much money. You're like, I better not talk about it. I'm not going to blow it.
People say, have you signed an NDA? And I think.
You don't even know.
I don't even know.
No, just keeping it quiet. Keep the Jewishness and the Marvel plots quiet. That's it. I was laughing so hard when I saw that. I go, who knew that?
No, that was one. That was a question. As soon as he said that, that was really hard to kind of keep it together. That one got me.
Oh, he was just nailing you over and over and over again.
No, but it really made me. That was a really funny.
Hey, you allowed to talk? Are you doing the new Ghostbusters film?
Yeah, I just finished it.
Oh, you finished?
I just finished. Yeah.
Now, I thought it was wild that Ivan Reitman, who directed the original Ghostbusters,
that's right.
who I know, his son is directed the new Ghostbusters.
He wrote it and directed it, and
now that is so fucking weird.
Yeah, like it's amazing. And Ivan was there; he was one of the producers, and it was incredible. Really,
who's in it with you?
This woman named Carrie Coon, who's a great actress. It's a lot of people.
Is it like the original, or is it a new take on the original?
It exists in the same world, like the original. The original happens in this movie. Like people are aware it does exist in our consciousness. People are aware of the events that happened in '85 or whatever.
Oh, good. So it's not a remake.
It's not a remake, but it's. Again, here we get in that territory. What I can.
But are you guys taking over the Ghostbusters from them?
No, but I'm not allowed to say anything in terms of that kind of stuff.
Right.
But I will say there was something really poetic about Jason Reitman directing it, and that there seemed to be this feel of like, this makes sense. I read that script and I thought it was really
first
clever.
of all, it turns out that the kid's a good filmmaker.
Yeah.
Really good.
He's proven himself to Ivan, because Ivan ain't handing that franchise over to anybody.
Well, also, I don't think it was anything that he really wanted to do.
That Jason didn't want to do?
Jason did Juno. And,
yeah.
I mean,
I would think Jason would avoid that like the plague, because Ivan did it so brilliantly. And I don't want to compete with my father and be compared to my father.
And it's a little bit like the family business, you know? And I think that he just had an idea, and he thought, I had this idea, and then he started kind of fleshing it out a little bit, and it probably seemed inevitable at a certain point.
When's it coming out? I can't wait.
I think next July, sometime next year.
Have you seen it yet? No.
No.
I
think they just wrapped, I think.
I wonder if Ivan and his son Jason are like kind of double teaming this, or is Ivan leaving Jason alone?
I think Ivan's leaving Jason alone. I mean,
but Ivan's a brilliant editor. In the editing room, I watched him. I sat at his feet while he edited. And he can literally pick out a scene that would be funny if you turn your head a certain way.
No, he's comedy royalty,
right? And
that was also really a cool thing to get to talk to him a little bit about his life and the things that he worked on.
Amazing guy.
Really amazing guy. Really, really great guy.
I wonder if it was... Oh, man, I can't even imagine the dynamic with his son directing Ghostbusters.
Did you see him around?
Yeah, he was there.
I think he was proud. And he also... I think that his son is certainly a capable and qualified filmmaker, and Ivan knows that.
Mm-hmm.
So who's the cast? It's you, this woman you just mentioned, and who else?
Well, there are these kids, and some kids that have never worked before.
So they're not like big name people.
Right.
Jason's going for that vibe, like with Juno and stuff.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's cool.
Look at you. Look at you, ruling Hollywood. Big franchise.
Is there anything you're not in?
Look at you. I didn't realize how big you are.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
You can retire. Well, there you go. Paul Rudd bragging, literally sitting here bragging about all of the franchises he's involved in.
Look at all the projects he can't talk about.
He's in so many projects you can't even talk about. I've never been in a project that no one even cares.
It's like, please talk about.
Right. Paul Rudd, Living with Yourself. Available exclusively on Netflix. Soon to be in Ghostbusters.
And maybe Ant-Man. Who knows?
Sounds like it's happening.
You like working with Michael Douglas?
My face is twitching.
Sounds like that Forbes list is going to grow. Sounds like you're going to be right up there.
Yeah, I love working with Michael
providing
Douglas.
for your family beautifully. Good for you.
Yeah, maybe that was a projection.
They make my kids though. They make so many jokes about me missing things, even though I really try not to. Like my son really perpetuates it. When he was little, in my house we have like this karaoke system. I tried to teach him. We learned Cats in the Cradle as a duet.
No. Yeah. That's the wrong song to pick.
Yeah.
I used to sing it at my father angrily.
It's the worst, most painful, awful.
A child was born just the other day. He came in the world in a usual way, but there were bills to pay and something to catch.
Yeah. If I had the time, my boy was just like me.
And she's just like me, son. You know, you're going to be like me.
There was something really funny about hearing from a little boy's voice singing the part of the boy saying he just doesn't have time for his dad. It was disturbing.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, that's not funny.
You think that is a tough song to listen to as just a dad. Try listening to it as a duet with your son.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
That must be like a horror film.
Oh, you know.
But it was also really funny.
Yeah.
I know. Like my kids are convinced I missed their entire lives. You know, they'll tell me, Dad, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. I was working. What did you want me to do? Someone had to pay for the shit.
Also, like I'm actually around a lot more than they think. But
that's what I always say.
Look,
yes,
you better start videotaping everything so you can prove.
You need proof because I like my kids to go, you didn't go on vacation. Yes, I did. I went on many vacations.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I've never gone more than 2 weeks without, at least coming home for a weekend. But I work for a few months and then I don't work for a long period of time.
Yeah, I say to the kids, I said, do you realize I would finish my show at 10 or 11 o'clock? I came right home. I got you from, I was home when you came from school. I go, oh yeah, right. Oh yeah, that's right.
You have to remind them.
You have to remind them you were there.
I had it this morning. I was doing a FaceTime with my daughter before I came here, and she said, "Are you gonna? It's her birthday." She goes, "Are you gonna miss my birthday again?"
Oh, again.
I said, I've never missed your birthday. And she started laughing.
Robin tried video everything. I do that with my kids. You save yourself a lot of trouble.
That's really good advice.
Oh my God, that is so funny. Oh my God. You a good singer?
No.
You're karaokeing with the kids?
Yeah. We have it in our house. I love it.
I karaoke, but I'm not very good at it.
Well, I think that
isn't that the fun?
That is the fun, right?
Yeah.
You want to sing something?
Isn't it a little weird when people are really good?
I'll give you a choice.
Oh God.
I'm going to give you a choice. I have karaoke right now.
Oh yeah?
I'll give you a choice.
Look at this.
Wichita Lineman.
That's my favorite song of all time.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Here.
They're the words.
Let me hear you.
Are you going to duet it with him?
Oh, you want a duet? I'll go verse for verse with you.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Let me hit this. Wichita Lineman. Glenn Campbell, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen. You take it first. Because
written by Jimmy Webb.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure where to come in, so you start it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
All right.
I want to hear you sing. Ladies and gentlemen.
I am a lineman for the county.
Good.
And I drive the main road. Searching in the sun for another overload.
Oh, fuck. I don't know how to do this. You just take the next one.
Hear you singing in the wire.
You're good.
I can hear you through the wine. And the Wichita lineman is still on the line.
What are you doing, Howard?
I don't know how to sing that. You hit that note.
By the way,
you're making me look bad.
I don't really hit that note. That was a little strange.
I was going to say, drop the mic.
No,
that was really good.
That didn't. I was a little nervous. I knew that was coming up.
I'll do Over the Rainbow.
Over the Rainbow?
Yeah.
Judy Garland.
Talk about hitting notes.
Nice.
I can hit these.
Okay.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. That was beautiful. Thank you.
I was crying.
It was
good.
Nice. It really.
You want to go in concert? Want to start a band? You play anything?
You've got a nice voice.
I do.
Singing
you really
the classics.
You know why I committed? You taught me something today. I committed to the song.
I think it was Jim Carrey that taught us all.
Or maybe it was. I don't know. But listen,
you do. You have a a nice voice.
You were beautiful.
Thank
you can do a musical.
Yeah. I might let you in on a threesome with me and Fred.
I am in.
Well, let me tell you. Paul Rudd, you sing, you act, you dance probably. But you're doing Living With Yourself, available exclusively on Netflix. We will all tune in. And thank you for these wonderful moments today. Loved having you on the show.
Thank you. It's been great being here.
Great to have you here. Paul Rudd, everyone. Robin, you're obviously turned on by Paul, I can tell. I see what's happening over there. She is.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Let's leave it at that.
That's right.
That's right. And we'll be back right after these words.